Hello, everyone tuning in to the SLC Extended Q&A. So Rodney and Ashley will be joining us in just a few moments. So if you have any more questions for them about snow leopards, please feel free to type it in the chat box. And you can also join us up on stage too if you click that orange button at the top of the screen. For now, I see that hopefully we'll be able to be joined by Maria Genova, who is a partner of SLC. And Ashley's joining us up on stage too. So Ashley, for our audience who has not met Maria, I'll give you a chance actually to introduce her in her role with the Land of the Snow Leopard Network. She actually got to join us last year at WCN's Fall Expo in October. So Ashley, why don't you introduce Maria for us?
Yes. Hi, Maria. I'm so glad you could join us today. Maria is our wonderful director-elect of the Land of the Snow Leopard Network. She is the executive director of the Baikal-Buryat Center for Indigenous Cultures in Buryat Republic of Russia. And she was the recent winner of the 2020 and really seeing her tremendous work working on of Indigenous knowledge and reviving these amazing cultures along with incorporating snow leopard conservation. And so as one of the youngest members of the LOSL, she was elected as director, and she has a long, amazing career ahead of her, and we're so excited to work with her. So I'm so glad she could be here today. And it looks like Gulum is here as well.
But Maria, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself too?
Great.
Hi Ashley, hi Tommy, and hi Rodney, and hi everyone who's watching.
No, she's okay.
It looks like Maria might be having trouble with her internet.
You can hear me? Okay, great, fantastic. So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today and seeing the amazing work of the Snow Leopard Conservancy and Land of Snow Leopard Network. And I think Ashley did an amazing job to introduce our network. It is quite difficult to put in a very concise words of the work that our network does. We are 5 regions: Mongolia, Republic of Buryatia, Russia, Republic of Altai, Russia, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. So the area is enormous where we work, and we are more than 100 members. And actually, described who we are, and the root of our work is based on the traditional indigenous knowledge, spirituality, and culture, which is based on the reverence to nature, and snow leopard as well, because snow leopard happens to be one of the most important sacred animals for many communities in Central Asia.
Thank you, Maria. I think we have Steve Mandel trying to join us live too. Hey, Steve, do you have a question for SLC?
Yeah, I do, but I'm sorry, I don't seem to be getting any camera action here for some reason. I was showing my snow leopard puppy. Actually, it's a golden retriever, but I call it a snow leopard. So, no camera, of course. My question is, what does snow leopard research and programming look like over the next 2 to 5 years? What kinds of focus points are there? Where's the research going? What programs will you be developing?
Thank you for that. I'll answer that, I guess. Yes, one of the things that we are really interested in doing is providing more sensitive, more effective electronic deterrents to keep snow leopards away from livestock pens and away from villages. Currently, we put out what are fox lights, which is just a very bright LED light that comes on at night and is flashing in a regular pattern all night long. And that does seem to keep snow leopards away, and also wolves. However, we are concerned that they both become habituated to it over time. So I am now working with Dr. Eric Dinnerstein and Resolve to come up with an AI. The first model arrives on our doorstep in 2 days' time, but it's onboard processing. It works on a 3D model, which is agnostic of the background. And that's always been the problem, identifying, what species is in there. And it will tell in real time whether it's a snow leopard, whether it's a wolf, the dog, brown bear. So it's covering a range of carnivores that do cause conflict with local people. And the next step will be to link it with communications, either mobile phone or satellite phone, that goes to a central place in the village. We'll ring the village with these intelligent cameras, and that way, hopefully, herders will know whenever there's a predator in their vicinity, and they can be extra cautious and protect their livestock. So that's certainly one of the activities that we're working with.
Awesome. Thank you, Rod. And I see we got Gulum on video as well. So we heard a little bit about Gulum's work in the main stage presentation. Rod or Ashley, do you guys want to introduce Gulum as well?
Can you hear us, Gulum? Yeah.
We can hear you, Rod. Yep. I'm not sure if he can, but.
I'm not sure he can either. No, I'm not sure. Well, I while he's working on getting the sound going, I met Gulum about 2005, actually, just after he became the director of Project Snow Leopard, which morphed into a local NGO now, which is a dominant one in northern Pakistan. This area actually is really quite critical for snow leopards. It's technically linked through a difficult border, Pakistan to India to Ladakh. They are literally only about, I suppose, 120 miles apart, something like that. But of course, impenetrable for either side to communicate with one another or work. And hopefully that will change in the future. Hopefully we'll be able to have cross-border exchanges between Gulum and Snow Leopard Conservancy India Trust. Do we have sound, Gulum?
Gulum, can you hear us okay? He said he had bad internet.
Well, he's in a remote area, so there would certainly be a delay, even with satellite connectivity.
At least we can see him, and he can write in the chat too. So if you have any questions, hopefully Gulum can respond in the chat box. We have another question for you guys, Rod, Ashley, and Maria too, if you're interested, from Scott Sabell, and he asked this earlier too. He said, do you guys partner with particular tour operators normally for your ecotourism programs? You had mentioned the Himalayan Homestays program in your presentation, or is it directly through SLC?
I can answer that for the homestay program. So yes, we do partner. Atomic Quest, based in Half Moon Bay, runs our programs, winter programs, and also a few summer programs in Ladakh, India. And right now, that's the only place that we have any trips. Serin in Dolpo would like to organize them in the future. And I've told her, well, she couldn't do the middle of the winter trips as easily. I mean, there'll be a few mountaineer kind of types that would do it, but she needs to be more diverse on different seasons. And obviously we have to wait for COVID and all these changes to happen. But she went to Ladakh. She learned from SLC India Trust how homestays are run, and she got very excited and really wanted to bring those to Dolpo because they are Tibetan community and they have similar kind of houses and structures. And it's also very close to where Peter Matheson wrote the book, The Snow Leopard. So I think that's a great draw as well. Wonderful. Maria, I'll let you answer if there's anything about, what plans are for Russia or the land of the snow leopard countries.
I don't think I can add any more specific details to this. But what probably I would like to add some more information on for the previous question. Kind of add my 2 cents into this. So of course everybody is, I'm sure everybody's very concerned about how the pandemic caused the conservation efforts in throughout the world, and especially in our region, in the snow leopard range countries. And one of the very things that we're very proud of at the Orlando Snow Leopard Network is the fact that one of the traditional spiritual indigenous cultural practitioners, as a sacred site guardians in Kyrgyzstan, they created this outreach program for the local communities in Kyrgyzstan, and also for the Kyrgyz communities abroad who were not able to come back home, because of the closed borders and so forth. So this traditional indigenous cultural practitioners, they basically teamed up with professional psychologists, and they provided the psychological and spiritual help to the people who were either fighting COVID or they lost their loved ones during COVID. And also they brought the traditional herbal medicine into this support into this program. And again, this spiritual leaders, they're part of the network. There are elders and they're and the indigenous culture practitioners. So and that just shows the level of commitment to both to the communities and snow leopards, because during this outreach program, they would go to the most remote villages, while also providing all this help to also inform the local communities about the importance of reviving traditional reverence to snow leopard, and reminder that snow leopard is a sacred totemic animal. So that was an excellent example of the true leadership and devotion and service to a snow leopard and nature, and of course communities.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear. So when you guys all get together as the Land of the Snow Leopard Network, how do those meetings go when you all have different cultural backgrounds, different languages spoken? How do you guys navigate that?
Yeah, I'd love to answer that as well. It's so crucial for us to meet annually, and during this meeting we either do technical trainings combined with cultural and spiritual knowledge. So every meeting, every technical training, it is supported through ceremonies, through traditional ceremonies, and everything is based on mutual respect and understanding that it's truly a safe space for sharing ideas, for collaboration. But the very unique thing about this collaboration, this initiative, is about that everything is rooted in the traditional, and cultural worldview, and our esteemed spiritual leaders, sacred site guardians, they are basically the foundation of our network. So it is led by them, and then we, they really create this incredible environment of both, spiritual and cultural wholeness of our group.
Thank you. And a question from Kathy Gervais for Ashley and Rod, if you guys can answer in here as well. I think Rod might be having some technical difficulties, but Ashley, could you expand a bit on that Inferno project that you guys worked on?
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to comment one thing. We do have International Snow Leopard Day coming up this Friday on October 23rd. Well, there'll be a lot of different meetings hosted around the world with the Global Snow Leopard Ecosystem Protection Program, which is an initiative of all 12 range countries coming together to make sure we ensure a future for snow leopards, securing 20 landscapes. By 2020, it's actually been extended now. So this is a big global effort to save this species, and we're going to be celebrating with SLC and our Land of the Snow Leopard Network on October 23rd. So we have a special event coming up that I'll share with you all as well. And we're really excited we're doing meetings with LOSL once every few weeks and hosting it on Zoom. And it's wonderful to have everybody, even though we wish we all could be together, it's wonderful to have everybody on Zoom, providing support for each other and checking in and seeing how everybody's doing. And Maria does a phenomenal job translating through the whole thing. It's translated into 2 to 3 languages, and the meetings take a few hours, and it's wonderful to stay connected with everyone in this way. So yeah, so as far as Annapurna is, thanks Kathy, I see you're here. This is one of our main project sites under the Darwin Initiative out of the UK. So we're working in Annapurna, Nepal and Khumbu in Nepal. And so the Narfu villages are placed in one of the most important snow leopard landscapes in Annapurna. And these remote villages, there's a high chance of conflict there, and these communities are very marginalized, very left out of support, government support. And so we've been working, starting to work with these communities the last 2 years, and the progress has been challenging with COVID because these communities have really shut down during the pandemic. They have closed their borders to visitors, and so there were some initial studies done on blue sheep density. And so that was able to be done before the pandemic started. And we provided emergency foods to these communities because a lot of them were stuck in Kathmandu during the time of the pandemic when it started, so they weren't able to plant their crops, as Rodney mentioned. So providing them with this initial support and providing them with personal protective equipment to get through this hump until we can start working them again on these programs, which will include providing them with box lights and working on other predator proofing tools. And then we're also starting the One Health initiative in these communities, where we're going to be working with working with their livestock, with herders and their livestock, to assess what the biggest risks for diseases are, and also providing them training on first aid for minor attacks. And really, the public health implications of that can be quite significant. So just trying to, assess what we can help with and prevent disease spillover into the wild populations. We do know that canine distemper is in the area due to a recent study. So we'll be looking at the domestic dogs in this area and potential risk of spillover to wild carnivores. So this is an initiative that we were supposed to start. We were supposed to go out in March, and it's been delayed because of the pandemic. So we're looking at how best to move that forward during this time. So we're just getting started. We're partnered with the San Francisco Zoological Society on this and International Veterinary Outreach on this initiative.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
And you touched on it a little bit, but Betsy Howell asked a similar question about your work involving the natural prey densities for snow leopards. I know that recently you guys used some cool drone technology to look more at the prey densities for snow leopards. Could you guys share a bit about that? And Rod, if you can hear us, let us know too. I'm not sure if your audio is working now.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
We have an echo with you, Rod. If you just make sure you only have one hop-in window open, and we should be okay. But Ashley, why don't you share for now?
As far as I know.
Actually, I think you're on mute, but if you could share.
Sure, I can start to answer that. So, so Rodney has been working on a drone project. Oh, here, try to. So they started working on a drone project to assess wild prey density in Mongolia, and so working with our partners Urbis Mongolia, and Don Hunter with the Rocky Mountain Cat Foundation. And so working with them to start this drone project where we might be able to, where we're looking at assessing prey populations. And we're finding this is much more effective than doing transects on the ground. So in the initial studies that were done when Rodney went out to Mongolia to work with Dr. Muntzog and Dr. Hunter, they were able to assess that this was a more effective approach to monitoring prey than on the ground. And so it has thermal imaging. So you fly the transects and then you compare it to what it is on the ground. And so this is something that we are going to develop, because if we can assess the prey density, we can also infer the snow leopard populations in this region or in these areas. And that might help us to do a better range-wide study of the population, because snow leopards are very challenging to study. There are camera traps. There's a big initiative called PAWS, which is a big population census initiative under the Global Snow Leopard Ecosystem Protection Program. And these are with all the partners in the Snow Leopard Network working in lots of different facets of research. But without having a range-wide genetic sampling these remote places are very challenging to study. As you saw in Shearing's video, they're very, very difficult to get to, and snow leopards are still the most elusive of all the big cats and the hardest to study. So if we can use other tools like drones and utilize technology in conservation to be able to, really assist us in understanding the prey in these areas as well as the population, it'll be really beneficial. So this is something that we're working on. Rodney is actually going to be focusing on that more, as well as this, the AI camera trap called Village Guard, which we're really excited about because it will help many different species, and not just snow leopards, but it'll really help lots of different species such as bears and wolves and species in Africa where it's being tested now. So I'm excited about this because as an animal behaviorist, getting the animals to participate in their own conservation by, conditioning them with this, this camera trap will be able to snap a picture of the cat as it comes by the village, and it'll send a real-time signal to a herder and alert them, or it will be able to deploy a speaker and train them not to come near the village. So we're very excited about these technologies, and we're interested in new partners. So if anybody has any skills and, particularly with technology and wants to get more involved, please reach out to us, because we're looking forward to new innovative techniques to save snow leopards.
Yeah, it's incredible that you guys combine this technology, breakthrough technology, with some of the indigenous culture knowledge that you have as well. It's really important to bridge those gaps. We have another question from Monica, who asked, at the moment, are there any major conflicts between some of the countries you guys work in across Russia, China, Nepal, Pakistan? How do you guys collaborate with some of the governments there or local communities? Because of course, the snow leopards, none of these country borders exist. But how do you guys work across these countries?
Sure. Maria, did you want to start with that one?
Maria, I think you're on mute.
Okay, so I'm not sure where to start, but one thing that comes in mind is that in 2013, this very big intergovernmental initiative came up called the Global Snow Leopard and its Ecosystem Protection Plan or Summit. So since 2013, the 12 countries of the snow leopard habitat range, they kind of came together and they decided that, snow leopard needs to be protected. So, and very interestingly, at that time, that was one of the kind of reasons also that when we formed the Land of Snow Leopard Network, because at that time SLC found a network and bringing all those people together. But what they saw is that in this grand plan that this 12 governments created, there was probably like zero, there was nothing that said about the local communities and indigenous traditional knowledge to be incorporated into this big plan. And of course, the foundation for a very successful conservation, as proven throughout the years, is our indigenous communities. And so that's kind of how we all got together in Kyrgyzstan in 2013. And ever since, we've been quite successful in also having our voice heard in this big meeting, the JSLEP meeting, where Rodney presented, and also one of the indigenous cultural practitioners, the sacred guardian, Johor Kul and Bekov, was able to present, to give the blessing, and kind of gave this big government people the perspective of indigenous person, for whom the snow leopard is seen as a very special totemic animal. So yeah, but of course, when we work in our more everyday work, we're all very mindful that we're working in 5 different regions, and each region is basically, of course, it's a different country, and we have to be very mindful of its own political, economical, and cultural background of each region. So
thank you, Maria. Yeah, very helpful. And then we only have about 3 minutes left, but we have a few questions from August Andrews that I wanted to address too. For Ashley, I think we've heard so much in the past year, and we're seeing it in our day-to-day lives, the impacts of climate change, not only on wildlife, but on humans as well. And August was curious, what are the impacts that climate change is currently having on snow leopards?
Good question. This is such an important landscape, being considered the third pole, the Hindu Kush Himalaya, with 1/3 of the world's population of water, stored in this region. It's a very significant topic for this. These ecosystems are very high risk for climate change. We're already seeing, because of the overuse of the land from livestock, we're seeing a lot of degradation, which is, can lead to landslides and loss of prey. And so that's why we think that snow leopard conflict with livestock is increasing, because of these changes. So in some of these areas, we are starting to see some of the snow-capped mountains, like near Everest, don't have snow anymore. And we're already starting to see the effects of these. And so, with these initiatives, we always approach it as an ecosystem, holistic approach to preserve these vital landscapes for everybody. And so, we are seeing some changes to the land. There's, with some of the significance of climate change to snow leopards and their prey, is for permafrost will start to defrost. And so that will, unfortunately, that there will be prey that won't be able to, the prey won't be able to eat, there won't be grass. And so they anticipate that it will change, where snow leopards live, and people will start shifting more north, and that will cause more conflict. So snow leopards already living in the roof of the world don't have anywhere else to go. So we're already seeing some of these changes in these interactions. So looking at it from this One Health ecosystem approach, we are really looking at the health of the land and really trying to help the communities, for resiliency for future pandemics and upsets, and also for climate change. How can we help them adapt now so that they're more resilient? And these communities are already so incredibly resilient. They've lived for thousands of years in these areas. They're more adaptive and more resilient in so many more ways than we are. But helping them adjust to these really significant challenges, and to ensure that there's a harmonious future for everyone in these ecosystems. And it's a major challenge, but we're looking at working on carbon credits, partnering with there's no trees in the regions where snow leopards live, but there's grasslands. So looking at preserving and doing carbon credits for those grasslands to save that land and make it intact, because development is another large challenge there, another incredible challenge.
Yeah, there's plenty of work for SLC to do. So it sounds like you guys need all the support you can get too. So we had a question from August as well about how can us folks here, whether you're in the US or around the world, and you're not living in snow leopard range countries, what can we do to help support SLC and the Land of the Snow Leopard Network and all the great work you guys are doing to protect the species, whether it's volunteering with SLC or donating to support you guys? What's the best way we can help?
Thank you. That's such a great question. I mean, I really believe everyone has a very unique contribution. You know, find what makes you thrive, what makes you happy, and go do it. You know, if you want to contribute by volunteering your skills, we are so in need of different skills and different strengths. And also, you know, funding, of course, you know, these initiatives take years and years to develop. You know, the Ladakh Homestay program in India, it's going on 20 years, and these programs, you know, our goal is that they get to be self-sustaining, and the money coming in goes to the communities, and that fuels itself. But to get them going, it does take a lot of funding, and so of course, you know, funding is a challenge. I think it was Doug Smith earlier that mentioned, you know, the nonprofit pie. Even though wildlife conservationists work with people and work with, you know, to protect ecosystems as well as wildlife, we only get, you know, 1% of that nonprofit money. So funding is a challenge, but everything helps, you know, getting involved, telling people about the threats of climate change, and just educating people about why snow leopards and wolves and other wildlife are so incredibly important, and how every species is so important in the big ecosystem picture, because it's so all interconnected. So, you know, we do have a new book that's coming out right now. It's just been published, and it's focusing on, it's called Searching for the Snow Leopard, and it's a beautiful book. It's all photography, no camera traps. Camera trap images are beautiful as well, but these are all snow leopards captured by photographers through ecotourism. And this book, the money will go to community-based conservation, and it's a very uplifting book focused on, like, focusing on the spiritual significance, and snow leopards, you know, really being this incredibly iconic sacred species. And you know, Maria's work is, they're working on reintroducing an indigenous cattle species. There's so many different ways to help, and we're so appreciative of all of our supporters and you know, everybody's role that they contribute. So we'd love to hear from you and talk more about how you'd like to partner with us.
Thank you, Ashley.
If you're interested.
Fantastic talks, super helpful questions and answers today, guys. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the SLC session for Ashley and Maria and Rod, who we lost, but was here for a little bit. And please tune in. Like Ashley said, next Friday is the International Day of the Snow Leopard. So she dropped a link in the chat if you guys want to register for that Zoom talk next Friday. But for now, in about 10 minutes, we'll have 2 more presentations on the main stage on gorillas and saiga. So feel free to tune into those. And for that, I think I just want to say thank you to Maria, and thank you to Ashley for joining us. And
thank you, Tommy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us, Maria, and thank you so much, Tommy.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Bye.